evening, YouTube. You guys are watching another segment of the Cali Effect. Today, we're going over a Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 1 review. Now, for the people that have not seen Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 1, I just want to let you guys know, this is a spoiler alert. With that being said, and without further ado, let's get to Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 1 review. The synopsis of the story starts 5,000 years ago, where ancient sorcerers and kings alike used these strong, powerful creatures to do their bidding. Ultimately, these real-life creatures were once captured and used in shadow games, casted upon each other for dominance, strength, power, and even entertainment. Soon enough, these monsters became too powerful. One brave pharaoh had to lock them away. Fast forward to present day, a young boy named Yugi Moto was gifted with the Millennium Puzzle. He then solves the Millennium Puzzle and uses his mystical powers that give him an alternate ego known as the Pharaoh. We don't quite yet know his name yet. He uses those powers to defeat world champion Seto Kaiba to unleash a certain chain of events that will change his life forever. These chain of events consist of multi-billionaire Maximilian Pegasus and creator of the Duel Monsters card game, the monsters that the Shadow Realm were based up, to take an interest in Yugi Moto. Now, when I mean an interest inside of him, he's not trying to become his boyfriend. In fact, Pegasus is very straight, and his intentions say so. He wants all 7 Millennium items as well as Seto Kaiba's corporation, Kaiba Corp, to revive his dead wife Cecilia. In order for Pegasus to obtain both the Millennium item and take over Kaiba Corporation actually set a stipulation that Pegasus must redeem the company by defeating Yugi. And he also has to defeat Yugi to gain control of the Millennium item. In order to force Yugi to play him in such a horrendous match, he has stolen Yugi's grandfather, because stealing old people will make you feel like kids again. I guess you can steal an old guy and make him feel like a kid. Is that kidnap or is that old nap? Anyways, let's get into why we think this is good or bad. Now we go on to the portion about the good, the bad, and of course, my opinion on the video. We're gonna start off with the bad because I like to end off on a high note. So one of the probably worst things about Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 1 is that the game made no sense whatsoever. Monsters were used as spells as monsters, field power bonuses gave 17% and such of attack points, and numbers were often misconstrued. There are multiple times where cards were used in different occasions, such as Joey Wheeler's Time Wizard, or any of Yugi's cards, such as the Living Arrow. How does that card work? No one really knows.
Attack! You've nothing strong enough. Watch me, for I'm going to show you the combo that will bring your dragon down. Mammoth Graveyard, Polymerization, and the Living Arrow card. What's a Living Arrow card? Living Arrow allows me to use my other cards in combination not with my own cards, but with my opponent's monsters. I'll show you. Normally, I make a fusion with my cards, but for a new twist, Living Arrow lets me fuse my cards with your cards, opening up bold new possibilities. Now what? I can use the magical power of the Living Arrow to bond my Mammoth Graveyard to the heart of your beast. No, my dragon! What have you done? Since my Mammoth Graveyard is an undead-type monster, he can't properly fuse with your living Ultimate Dragon. Instead, it causes your monster to rot and decay from the inside out. Each turn, your Ultimate Dragon will lose attack points until your creature is no more.
Another huge problem with the Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 1 series is that instead of solving the problem like normal people, they just resort to kidnapping. Yugi Moto's grandfather was kidnapped after he lost to Maximilian Pegasus the first time, and it forced him to go to a tournament to duel him again to unkidnap his grandpa. Like, seriously, it's still not getting to me. If you're an old guy and you're kidnapped, are you a kid again? Nonetheless, Seto Kaiba's younger brother Mokuba was kidnapped in an attempt to take over the company because they needed someone with the Kaiba name to control it. And fun fact, Seto Kaiba's younger brother Mokuba gets kidnapped about every 12.5 episodes throughout the whole series, Season 1 series. Another thing is that Seto Kaiba himself was kidnapped, which brings back the question, are you a kid again if you get kidnapped and you're grown? I don't understand. What's up with all these kidnappings? Where are the authorities?
And you've lost much more than just this duel, haven't you, Kaiba? You've lost the only chance you had at rescuing your baby brother. You let him down. But don't worry, my dear friend. I will spare you the agony of carrying on in this world without him. What is that? It is the final fate of your soul, Seto Kaiba.
Another huge problem with the show is how some of the characters are portrayed and some of the characters themselves. Bandy Keith, America's champion, It's so many things we can talk about with this bandana wearing guy, but ultimately, the biggest cheater of all time that portrays America. I'm not saying that I stand by. Let's just not talk about him. Joey Wheeler in his Brooklyn accent. He's from Japan. A lot of those things could be looked over, but one thing that I can't look over is the fact that Bandikeith did get disqualified for cheating, but My Valentine with her aromatherapy couldn't? I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm American. Maybe it's just because that's how the show goes.
What's that strange smell? I never noticed that smell when my eyes were open. I'm smelling a bunch of different perfumes coming from her cards. Huh.
Let's go, kid. It's your turn.
That's it. I see through your card trick.
Huh?
You sprayed all your cards with different perfumes.
Now that we're done with the bad, we can talk about the awesome things with Yu-Gi-Oh! I think the biggest thing I want to emphasize on Season 1 is the graphics still. Now, we're not talking about HD 1080p quality. We're talking about the monsters and the character design. They're pretty awesome. I mean, look at Blue Eyes White Dragon and all of the amazement that Blue Eyes White Dragon brings. There's so many things that this season brought to us, and I guess the most important thing would be the monsters itself and the great character design. The next best thing about Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 1 is how they resolve their problems. Normally, people would like to resolve their problems with violence, and though that isn't really normal, especially in the Yu-Gi-Oh! World, they want to resolve their problems with duels. And it's not necessarily how they get into it, it's kind of sneakily, smoothly will they wing into a duel. It's like, hey, you knocked me over, but you won't do this in a duel. And it's like, all right, I mean, didn't see that coming. It's a show about Yu-Gi-Oh! Monsters, and you're gonna wind up with a duel instead of fighting. Awesome. Like, if I beat you in a duel, can we go on a date? So many nerds will lose, and so many girls will be good at Yu-Gi-Oh!
Boo! Do you two geeks mind if I step in?
Now what do you want from us?
I've humbly come down here to ask you for a second chance.
Second chance?
I'd have easily won if my leg hadn't cramped up. I think that you owe me a rematch.
Give it up.
I'll give you a rematch, but we'll duel my way.
The number one and best thing about Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 1 has to be the friendship. Now, Yugi, Joey, Taya, and Tristan are very, very close friends. It actually gets kind of creepy how close they are friends. But I'm not gonna lie, these guys have a friendship that can fight through any type of adversity, and that is really cool. Ultimately, it's something that you can kind of be a little envious of, because when you're down and out and you need somebody to have your back, those four are definitely gonna have each other. Now, there's also the frenemy named Bakura, but we'll get to that later in another season review.
Everyone, put your hands together, and I'll mark us with a special sign.
What gives, Taya?
It's a symbol of our friendship, so when Yugi's dueling, no matter how tough it gets, he'll know that he's not alone. We're all right there with him.
Thank you guys so much for watching the Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 1 review. I want to know what you guys feel about Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 1 down below in the comments. Please like, comment, subscribe, and most of all, enjoy.